So the next question is there any tips on how to make the book a bestseller, right? So of course we always want to aim to become a best-selling book. So are you referring to like international bestseller or you're referring to like nationwide bestseller? Because if you're asking me how to become like international bestseller, I don't have the answer, and many people won't even have the answer because to become international bestseller, you need to sell, I think, 300,000 copies of books. And the trade secret in this industry, just so you know, I mean, this my secret coaching program. I'm just gonna tell you that I'm not gonna name names, but those people who become best-selling authors, they work with a consulting company where they have to pay X amount of dollars, maybe 50,000 US dollar or 100,000 US dollar, something like that, so that this company will go out there and make things happen for them, right? So that's a whole different thing. So I'm not too sure what kind of best selling you're referring to, but I'm going to assume. So I'm assuming that you are talking about Amazon best selling book or local best selling book because both of them probably use the same strategy. Now, of course, if you need to be a best-selling book, this goes without saying that your book has to be a good book, right? And I'm going to have the assumption that you have a good book, like the content is solid, is good, that people like it, right? I mean, we can't sell stuff that is not adding value to people's life, right? I mean, that's just not the way how I teach. So I'm going to assume that your book is good. So there are two ways of you to go around to turn a book to become a best-selling book. It's either that you throw a launch campaign or you start building your own followers very, very heavily at this moment of time, right? So it's either one of those. But for me, I will actually use both, right? Which means that I will build my own followers, I'll build my own list, I'll build all of those, and I will also get help with promotions like joint venture partners and so on. So I'm going to summarize this a bit so that you can sort of get a big picture. Then once you have your manuscript ready, have inside CreateSpace, I can just help you to review more things and so on. Okay. So the first few things is that, like for me, like when I go for Amazon best-selling book, like in the Kindle category, the whole thing is that you just need to push all together, like put all the your ammo together and launch it. And if you are the top in your category, you go to become a best-selling book inside Amazon Kindle. And when you appear there at top 10 there, then Amazon will actually push your book up because they want to generate the sales as well, because the more books you sell, the more money they make because they are your publishing partner. Now, so strategically, the whole thing is that you just need to think of this. Whatever resources that you have, you are just going to save it all up for one day of promotion. Like for me, when I promote that, I promote social media, I build a mobile app, I promote to my mailing list, I do all of those to hit a best-selling book. And like those who hit like New York Times best-selling book, like Tim Ferriss, Gary Vaynerchuk, and so on, they really go all out, right? What do you want when they go out? They use all their influence, all of their brand, from Facebook, from Instagram, and so on, and then they throw a campaign. They say that, hey, if you buy 10 copies, you get to come to my seminar, right? If you buy 100 copies, you have lunch with me, or whatever it is. So what is happening is that the tactic is that you're not trying to get a person to buy a book anymore. You're trying to get a person to buy 10 copies. So in that process, it's as if that you get 10 people to buy the books. You see, this is the whole thing, because they count by the book sales, they don't count by the person. So again, this is why in our little dark secret, so to speak, is like most best-selling books were not best-selling books. They engage a consulting company, an agency to make this happen. And they take like a big sum of money out, like 50,000 US dollar or something like that, and get 100,000 books to be purchased, right? And this consulting company will have the resource, make the magic happens, right? So I think that if you want to hit a best-selling book, the first thing you need to do, which I've been teaching all this time, is start to build your asset right now and build your brand right now. If you start doing that, you attract your followers and you build a list. I know it's a lot of work, which leads to the next question. Why would you want to have a best-selling book, right? Is that going to help you to bring more money, to generate more sales? Now, I do not know the answer. I seriously do not know. Like for me, I don't think having a title of a best-selling author, like a New York Times best-selling author, will help me to make 100,000 US dollar. So I'm not going to spend 50,000 US dollar to have that done in that sense, because I would think if I want to make 100,000 US dollar, maybe I don't have to spend the 50,000 US dollar. I could just do something else to make that. So you have to fall back to your objective. But if it's like your personal passion that, hey, I just got to have this, like this title, right? Then maybe it's worth for you to go and do all of those. But keep in mind that if you were to do all of those, right, instead of promoting a book to become a best-selling book, right? So you just have to decide on that. There's no right or wrong, but what's your business model? The next strategy is basically is to use money in terms of doing a launch contest, and we have done that as well. So, like for instance, when we wanted to, and now I'm talking about the local market, okay? So when we want to make our book a best-selling book in the local market, what we do is that we were paying, I think, that time was not so expensive. I think we were paying like a ringgit, whichever world that you're from, whichever country you're from, let's say $1 in that sense, right? So we're paying like a ringgit for an email address. So we run an affiliate program and we say, hey, if the affiliate get anyone to request for, I think it was a free chapter or something like that, right? Or some free course, then we'll pay a ringgit. So let's say the affiliate brings in like 500 leads, then the affiliate just make 500 without even doing any promotion or sales, right? So we build a big list that process, and then we promote to that list and say, hey, now the book is available in the local bookstore. Please go to the bookstore and buy right now. So we just move it all through the internet and through mailing lists in that process. Now, if you want to enhance it better, that you have the budget, then all these affiliates of yours, right, you will pay them handsomely to help you promote.